Hi, before I disassemble these, I actually wanted to share this with you as a ridiculous find. Now, there's a local electronics store next to me that's having a throw out because they have excess stock. And they were throwing these out. Now, these are brand new. I mean, they've never been used. They're emergency lights. And if you have a look at them, then they're just full of stuff. Now, I've pulled one apart, so let's have a look at one of them that's in there, and there are 20 in that stack. So they're emergency lights, and what they've got in them is a bank of these. These are nickel metal hydride 1.2 sub-C batteries, and there's 3 of them in that pack. Now I've got 20 of them, so I've got 20 packs. I've got 60 of these batteries. These batteries are £7 each, so there's nearly £400 worth of brand new nickel metal hydride batteries just for the trouble of taking them out. I mean, it's crazy to my mind. The other thing that's in there that's really useful is this thing. It's a little LED lighting panel, and it is 31 volts at 700 milliamps, and there's 20 of those lighting panels. No idea what I'm going to do with them. The batteries, yes, I understand what I'm going to do with them. Them, no real idea, but that is really useful. Then there's the control unit right there. Now again, no real idea what I'm going to do with it. And then there is the current limiter right there. So it's just full of stuff that people are just throwing away. And if you keep your eyes open and pick them up, then there's about 400 quid's worth there. Now obviously I'm going to use these on my wind turbine, which is probably a bit of a cheat really, because I've just got 400 quid's worth of batteries for nothing. So we stripped those down and we've got our stack of batteries amongst a load of other things. And the next thing we're looking for is some of these. These are fluorescent light fittings. What we're actually after is the ballast. And that's electromagnetic ballast. Now these days they use a lot of electronic ballast, but these electromagnetic ones are the ones we want, because that is basically a coil of wire in a big old laminated steel block. They're dead easy to remove. There's just a couple of screws holding them in. Take those screws out, undo that bit there, which is the cable clip, and then pull it off and you'll have ballast just like that. We've got our ballast out. We need to strip it down a little bit, and it's another really easy job. You take off the backing plate first. It's a bit like opening a can of tuna actually. There we go. Don't need that. And if we have a look on there, you can see there's a central piece and then there's a C shape going around there. We need to remove that C shape, and we do that just by holding the thing in the edge of the vise and tapping off the C. Okay, so that's the adaptation finished. Now, if it's an E, it's a little bit more difficult. If it's a C, this outer one knocks off and leaves the tongue inside. What I did was knock out the centre and then saw off the back, because that's the section that goes underneath here. Now I've got one underneath here at the moment, and you can see it's actually lighting that LED. Now, that may not seem tremendous, but it turns out this is giving out about 3.2 volts at about 100 milliamps, something like that. And that really is exciting, particularly when you think about this that we began this video with, because these are 3.6 volts at 4 amp hours nickel metal hydride battery packs, and of course they fit actually rather nicely like that. I mean, it kind of starts making you think maybe we ought to do one each of these fingers, because this would charge this fully to in about 24 hours, which means if we put 20 of those, which is what I've got, then we'll be able to generate a quarter of a kilowatt in 24 hours, which doesn't seem like a lot. But remember, this is only turning at about 10 RPM, so at 10 RPM actually that is considerable. So if we're getting more wind obviously, then we're going to have to put in some control circuitry, which is the next thing to think about. But it's certainly making me think that maybe I ought to make up 20 of these little packs and slide them in there. Now, making up 20 little packs seems like a pain in the neck, But you have to realise that actually makes it a redundant system. If we have one big generator feeding one big battery bank and something goes wrong, the whole lot goes down, and it's expensive to repair. If we have lots of little ones and one goes wrong, then all the others are still going to be able to cope. And because these are so small, everything is going to be that much cheaper for each individual unit. I mean, we haven't paid anything for this, so it's really cheap for us anyway. But if we have to repair it, or we have to buy something for it, then repairing one is a lot cheaper than trying to repair the massive thing. And then if one goes down, we still get generation out of it. So having a whole lot of these put together as little units, slid under there generating, is a very tempting idea indeed, or at least to my mind, because we'll be able to charge those battery packs individually and then bring them all together to get our power out. Anyway, I thought I would share that with you because, to be honest, finding those lamps was a kind of exciting development, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching.